All right, so thank you for joining us for today's Discover session. In today's session, we're going to feature 3 programs: AI Scholars, CS Scholars, and Summer Academy for Math and Science. Let me quickly introduce the presenters this evening from Carnegie Mellon University. I'm Marjorie Dawkins. I'm the Assistant Director of Pre-College Enrollment Management. And then we have Meg Pryor. I think she was having technical difficulties, so she popped off, but you'll be meeting her very soon. And then from AI Scholars and CS Scholars, we have Natalie Hatcher. Natalie, you want to wave? Here we go. And then from Summer Academy for Math and Science, we have Roshan Lang, excuse me, Roshan. Oh my goodness, wave. I'm having a rough night already. And then Chernell Smith. Thank you to everyone, including our presenters, for joining us this evening. In today's session, we're going to start with a brief overview of Carnegie Mellon's pre-college programs. Then you're going to hear from our program directors about their programs. Then you'll hear about the student experience outside of the classroom, because that also matters. And then that will be followed by a review of the application process and the deadlines, and then we'll have a large group Q&A. Then we'll close the night with breakout rooms. So you can go into a breakout room with one of the program directors and speak to them directly about their program. I'm going to ask a few favors of everyone. If you could please stay on mute during the presentations. That's just going to help reduce any distracting background noises. And would you please write down any questions you have as we move through the presentations, or pop them into the Q&A portal. You can usually find the Q&A icon at the top or bottom of the Zoom screen, and you can just type your questions in there and we'll make sure we get you answers. And then lastly, after this session, you're going to receive a survey, and we would love your feedback. We do take it seriously, so please consider filling it out while the session is fresh in your mind. So let's begin with why pre-college. To begin with, it's great practice for the college application process. Our pre-college process is very similar to the college application process intentionally. We believe that experiencing it now is going to give you confidence and help you understand the process when it's time to do it at the undergraduate level. You're also going to have an immersive experience on a college campus through the pre-college experience. A campus can be rather daunting for a first-year college student. So exposure to a campus now is really, truly impactful. It sort of reveals the mysteries of a college campus, and it helps you begin envisioning what your life might look like on a college campus. You'll also be experiencing a college classroom and its expectations, and these are very different than the high school level. So experiencing them now is going to help you understand the atmosphere and pace of a college class before you begin college as an undergraduate. Pre-college is also going to help allow you to test drive your current interests and passions before making the commitment at the college level. Maybe you're curious about a field of study or a career, but you have no way to really explore it where you're at. Pre-college is where you can do that. And that all just helps inform your decisions at the college level. You're also going to build invaluable life skills: time management, self-advocacy, communications. I'm sure the program directors could name so many more. You're also going to meet students from all different backgrounds, and you're going to make lifelong friends based on your shared experiences and your interests. So these are just a few reasons why the pre-college experience in general is valuable. So why Carnegie Mellon's pre-college programs, right? So why here? Because here you're going to experience college life on our absolutely beautiful college campus under the instruction of our world-renowned faculty and staff that truly care about your future. And you're going to be with a group of like-minded peers that are going to help you discover more about yourself and your plans for the future. So I'm just going to give you a brief overview of pre-college programs as a whole. So we have these 3 programs, but we actually have 12. So you're in a larger group of students. You're going to hear us refer to the Office of Pre-College Programs, and that's the team that manages the enrollment, the logistics, the student affairs portion. So really everything outside of the classroom, the curriculum. Then each specific academic program is run by one or more program directors, and they manage the academic portion of the programming. We offer 12 different academic programs, as I mentioned. 3 of these programs, the ones here tonight, are fully funded merit-based programs, and each of the program directors will dive into what that really means. But we also have 9 other programs, and they all have scholarships available. Our programs will vary in length from 3 to 6 weeks. SAMS, Summer Academy for Math and Science, is 6 weeks, and then AIS Scholars and CS Scholars that's 4 weeks. And we enroll about 750 students that will be rising 11th and 12th graders during the summer of 2024. So this coming summer. That means that if you're filling out an application, you should either be a sophomore or junior. Now, when we come to the program presentations, you'll want to pay attention because all of the programs represented tonight, they are tailored towards specific grade levels. So you're going to want to pay particular attention to that. Regardless of the program, we do require you to be at least 16 years of age at the time of programming. So by June 22nd, 2024, you should be 16 years of age. We offer both residential and commuter options, but for our fully funded merit-based programs, so the 3 programs here tonight, students are all required to be residential students. But in reality, most of our students across all of our programs do stay in our dormitories as residential students. These students are going to come from all over the country. We can see that, right, from just the participants here this evening. And in fact, we have students coming from all over the world. So it's a great opportunity to meet new people with different experiences and backgrounds. Briefly, I'm going to run through our other programs so you're aware. But if you have specific questions about any of the other programs, let's connect after this presentation about those. So to run through the programs, we have AI Scholars. You're going to hear from them tonight. We have Architecture and Art, Computational Biology. Then we have CS Scholars, also represented tonight. Design, Drama, Music, National High School Game Academy, Summer Academy for Math and Science, often referred to as SAMS, also here this evening. Then we have Summer Session, that's a credit-bearing program, and Writing for Culture. So you can see we offer a wide range of topics, academic topics, through our programs. Again, if you have any questions about programs other than the ones represented here tonight, please reach out to me after the presentation. So now I'm going to hand it over to Natalie, and she's going to begin talking about her programs.
Thanks, Marjorie. All right, give me a moment here to get all my screens in order. All right, can everybody see my screen there? Yeah, forgive me here. I've set my computer up in a new configuration today. So I want to make sure I got everything going in the right direction here. So hi, everyone. My name is Natalie Hatcher. I use she, her pronouns, and I'm the Senior Outreach Program Manager for the CS Pathways Department in the School of Computer Science. I'm not sure if Malik is with us right now. If he is, maybe he can pop in and say hi. He was having some trouble logging in at the top of the meeting, so he's having some technical difficulties. Are you here?
I quite literally just made it. Hello.
Wonderful. There's Malik.
Hello. Sorry about that. My name is Malik Ma'at. I am the Assistant Outreach Program Manager for CS Pathways and CS Scholars and AI Scholars.
Wonderful. I'm so glad to have you join us, be here with us, Malik. So Malik and I, we are the program directors for the CS Scholars and AI Scholars programs, which operate out of this little tiny office called CS Pathways. I'm gonna, let's go back. Tell you just a little bit about, hold on a second. I'm having a technical difficulty day, aren't we? There we go. Okay, so in CS Pathways, we believe that all students, especially those who are traditionally under-resourced, underestimated in STEM fields, reserve access to programs that help them decide if theirs is a future in computer science. So our department exists to develop programs and initiatives that create a more equitable and inclusive journey to computer science opportunities. We believe that computer science is for everyone. So along with our summer programs, we have some additional programs working with middle school and elementary age kids here in Pittsburgh and students all across the city. And between those programs and our summer programs, our goals are to provide students with the tools to succeed, resources and support, and a solid foundation. So not every school we recognize offers computer science educational experiences. So our hope is that we can fill in some of those gaps and to provide students with the fundamentals to be successful in the STEM field. I'm here tonight to talk to you about CS Scholars and AI Scholars. So both of these programs, you might be here to hear about one or the other. I'm going to sort of talk a little bit about both of them together. There are two programs that really kind of go hand in hand. I think we said to, you can throw questions in the chat and we'll kind of keep an eye on that, but we'll also have the Q&A later that will answer as many questions as we can. So really for both of these programs, it's important for us that we're offering an opportunity to explore STEM pathways through computer science and artificial intelligence. We're also have a strong goal to foster a sense of belonging and community for our students, to really look at STEM for the social good. So what you'll be doing is learning lots of cool stuff in your classrooms and then thinking about how to solve real world issues with those. And then also really focusing on college readiness and postgraduate planning. And I'll talk a little bit more about what some of those things mean as we go along. So I'll talk, before I dive into this, I want to come back to something that Marjorie mentioned, that CS Scholars and AI Scholars and the SAMS program are what we call fully funded merit-based programs. So that means that admittance to these programs are based on merit, and they're fully funded in that. If you are admitted to the program, the program costs are covered by the programs themselves. So that's what that means in case you were curious. And I'm sure that I'll talk a little bit more about that as we go on. Please forgive my voice. I'm recovering from being ill. And I know that Roshan and Chanel will be talking more about that too. But just in case, I just wanted to make sure that it was understood up front, the very base level understanding of what that means. So CS Scholars is open to anyone who's currently a sophomore in high school. So if you're a rising high school junior, you're in your sophomore year, and you'll be 16 by the start of the program, and you're eligible to apply for our CS Scholars program. So as a CS Scholar, you'll engage in college level courses in computer science, computer programming, and mathematics, as well as weekly seminars that explore college admissions, financial aid, building independence, mental and emotional wellness, and much, much more. We'll take a deep dive into the computer science world through classroom instruction with CMU faculty, a hands-on research project that you'll work together in a group to do with other folks in your cohort, guest faculty lectures. In CS Scholars especially, we really try to give you an opportunity to see what the options are in the field of computer science. Like a lot of people come in and they think they just want to be a programmer, but maybe you have an interest in manufacturing, or maybe you have an interest in farming or agriculture, or maybe you have an interest in try to get folks in front of you to share with you what they're working on, whether that's in the industry, whether that's graduate students or CMU instructors, to really give you a broad opportunity to learn about the many, many things you can do with computer science, and industry engagement. So lots of field trips, and again, lots of folks come in to talk to you. Those two things I think kind of go hand in hand. So CS Scholars, is it for you? As I mentioned, if you're currently in the 10th grade, CS Scholars could be for you. If you have an interest in learning more about computer science, CS Scholars could be for you. You have absolutely you have to have no experience. So we accept students into the CS Scholars Program who have little to no programming experience. We have accepted students into the Computer Science Scholars who have maybe a little bit of self-taught experience. We've accepted students who've had a couple of computer science classes, either taken in the community or in their school. And we've got a wide range of folks that have been accepted into the program. But I just want to say, if you are curious about computer science and you're like, I don't have any experience, is it going to be too difficult for me? I don't want that to be something that stops you from applying. And then students who lack access to CS curriculum in their schools or communities are from under-resourced communities and school districts. So if you maybe you have no, this is sort of what I touched on at the beginning, maybe you have no computer science courses available in your school district or anywhere in your community, or maybe you just have one, maybe you just had one in middle school, we would encourage you to apply. Students with demonstrated financial need, and students who care about using technology as a tool for positive social impact. Now, I'm going to say this because it's not in this list, but truthfully, if you have an interest in learning about computer science and you think you want to apply, and you're sort of like, I'm not sure if I fit into these categories, reach out to me or Malik. We'll share our emails out. We're happy to talk more about where you are. Maybe you're like, maybe my experience level is too much, or maybe it's not. If you have questions at all, ask them and we'll answer them. The Computer Science Scholars Program is open to anyone who wants to apply. These are the sort of bones in which the program was designed with in mind. So, what to expect from CS Scholars? By the end of the program, you should be able to code an interactive application in Python, demonstrate an understanding of the basic principles of computational problem solving, publicly present a group project, and demonstrate awareness of shared responsibility within a team, gain confidence in your ability to further pursue undergraduate coursework and or a career in computer science, and demonstrate a greater understanding of how to leverage computer science for the good of society. And also, join us the following summer for AIS Scholars. So if you are admitted as a computer science scholar for the summer of 2024, you do have an opportunity to return in the following summer when you are headed into your senior year of high school as an AI scholar. As previously mentioned, the cost is free as a fully funded merit-based program for students who are admitted. You can see the program dates. This is a 4-week program. We do require that if you are admitted to the program, you attend the full 4 weeks of the program. We also know that many of you are considering many options for summer programs and you put out a lot of applications. If you're admitted to the CSS program or the AIS program, we also require that you are committed to our program and our program only during that time, because it's pretty full schedule, and we love to have your full attention. And the application deadline there is March 1st, which we've already discussed. So I'll talk a little bit about AI scholars now. As an AI scholar, you're going to do a more in-depth analysis of the fundamentals of AI and machine learning. So we explore Python coding a little further than in CSS, data algorithms, evaluation, and more. I want to just take a pause because you might come and ask me more questions about what some of the curriculum is about. And I'm going to tell you now that I am not a CS or AI instructor. This is the language I've been given from these instructors to share with you. If you have more in-depth questions, I will not be able to answer them today, but you can surely send them to me and I can get you an answer. Just before we get too much further. Yeah, so we'll do a deep dive into AI through, we do for AI scholars, pre-programmed virtual onboarding course. So that will happen in the month leading up to when you would come to campus. And that pre-programmed virtual course is It's a mix of synchronous and asynchronous virtual learning that's led by our faculty instructor and generally also a teaching assistant. And then classroom instruction, very similarly to the CS Scholars Program. You'll have a hands-on research project that you'll do in a group, lots more faculty lectures that are very, a little more focused. So while the CS industry engagement and faculty lectures are a broad topic for you to do a lot of exploration, the AI Scholars is more focused on AI and machine learning opportunities. And again, is it for you? So similarly, you'll see the same things up here that we saw for the CS Scholars Program, with the exception of for AI Scholars, you need to currently be in 11th grade. So you need to be a rising high school senior for AI Scholars. What to expect. You can see here, again, this is all information given to me by the instructors. Recognize AI applications in the real world, how they might work at a high level, understand the role data plays in AI systems, implement code in Python. We'd be talking a lot about ethics, develop your own AI application, and publicly present in a group, and hopefully gain confidence in your ability to further pursue undergraduate coursework and or a career in artificial intelligence. And again, the cost is free, and the program is a 4-week program. It runs during the same time as the CS Scholars Program. We work really hard, Malik and I, to make sure that while you're 2 separate cohorts, the CSS cohort and the AIS cohort, we do a lot of other work together in community building. And so it's important for us that those 2 groups, that those 2 programs run during the same 4 weeks. So I just want to talk very briefly about some of the beyond the classroom things that we do in those 4 weeks. So you'll have your sort of course schedule. I know this question always comes up, but so classes are Monday through Friday. You usually run anywhere from 9 or 9:30 in the morning until generally around 5. Sometimes we go as late as 6, depending on the day and what's in the schedule, with a break, about an hour break for lunch in the middle of the day. And outside of your core curriculum, we spend a lot of time helping you to get ready for what comes next, right? So we're talking about postgraduate planning. And so we're going to be doing admissions seminars, financial aid seminars, meeting with admissions, especially for our rising seniors, college application and essay prep. We'll do some writing seminars, both groups do. Alumni presentations, undergraduate panels, so you get an opportunity to talk to current and former CMU students and hear about their experiences. Off-campus site visits to CMU and other industry facilities. I talked about the essay writing. And then we do weekly class discussions led by myself and Malik, where we really just kind of focus on you and focus on, trying to find out what you need as we're moving through the program, and help to give you the tools to really kind of drill into your sense of self and your sense of self-agency as you are moving forward on your academic journey. And then continued engagement. And we work really closely with our good, I'll say our sisters over at the SAMS program, Roshan and Chernel. We do a lot of engagement together with the SAMS program. So we work really hard to also build community within the AIS, the CSS, and the SAMS students while they're all on campus together. And then we do a lot of continued engagement once you go home. We provide lots of opportunities for virtual connection, where we're, again, doing some more of those, like, let's talk about SAT prep. Let's talk about the FAFSA, like those kinds of things, helping you, again, further on your way. And I'm going to, that's the end of my slides. And also maybe the end of my voice. So I was just saying, Malik, is there anything that you think I might have missed that you want to add before we hand the reins back over?
No, I think a lot of the questions that are popping up here are probably best answered in the Q&A, as
Great.
Meg and Marjorie have suggested. Thank you, though.
Wonderful. Thank you, Malik.
I've been paying
Um,
attention though, okay?
okay, yeah. So I'll hand it back off, and I'll let you hear from our good friends.
Thank you, Natalie, and welcome, Malik. Roshan, Chanel, you want to take it away?
Perfect. Give me 2 seconds, like Natalie needed to get myself set up and our screen shared, and then we'll talk about SAMS. All righty, is my screen showing? Yes? Okay, perfect. Thank you. All right, Chanel, do you want to start or you want me to start with SAMS? You want to do center?
Why don't I have you start with SAMS and do a little bit of a deep dive, and then what I will be able to do, typically I would begin with aspects of where the Center for Student Diversity and Inclusion and our efforts within kind of access initiatives broadly within the campus community. But Roshan, why don't we have you do SAMS, and then I will be able to wed everything that we've talked about today that fits into the fully funded merit-based spaces and ecosystems within universities.
Fantastic. So just give me a little bit of grace here. I'm going to skip through to some slides and then we'll come back to the first slides. Okay. So welcome to the conversation about SAMS. As Marjorie indicated, my name's Roshan Lang. I use she, her pronouns. I'm a special projects manager within the Center for Student Diversity and Inclusion, and I am one of the co-directors for SAMS. So this, just to give you some pictures, we like to show everybody pictures. As Malik and Natalie indicated, we are happy to answer questions too once we get into the Q&A portion, and know that we do also consider CSS and AIS as sister programs to us. So a lot of the our programming, the way that we build our programs is really done in conjunction with that team. And so you will often see us all in spaces together, sort of shared spaces and shared facilitation. So this is our group of SAMS scholars from summer 2023. I'm going to just scoot through these. There's some pictures of some of the presentations and some information. So understanding sort of what SAMS focus is, that we are providing opportunities. SAMS is for current juniors, rising seniors from underrepresented communities to explore STEM-related fields. We are fully funded and merit-based. This picture is from one of our presentations at the end of SAMS. There is a symposium where all of the scholars will present their work that they have researched for the 6 weeks that we're here in a conference style presentation. So these are just some images from this past summer. Eligibility for SAMS. This information is also all on the website, but you must be, again, at least 16 years old by the program start date. You must be a U.S. citizen or permanent resident, and you must be a junior in high school at the time of application. So we get tons of questions, and I anticipate them here too, asking about like, what is financial need? Like, what number is that? What classes do I have to have taken? Am I considered sort of underrepresented in STEM or under-resourced? And so please know, like, this is, if you meet these eligibility requirements, we will review your application. We look at applications very holistically. So we are looking, there is no one factor above another. We are looking at financial aid. We are looking, or financial need. We are looking at your transcript. We are looking at those letters of recommendation. We are looking at test scores if you submit them. We are looking at your essays. So we really are trying to get a sense of who you are as a scholar and how you will succeed in SAMS, sort of what SAMS can do for you and what you can do for SAMS as we're building that cohort. Again, some more pictures. This was our neuroscience project that you'll see there. There's just some quotes here from our past summer participants, because I think that's important to be able to hear the voices from the folks who were in your positions last year at this time, coming to these info sessions and trying to decide what programs looked right for them. And so for this student, like, it really was about that academic piece, but also this relationship building that Marjorie talked about, these lifelong relationships, being able to explore campus, being able to be part of what's happening here and creating this community with folks who are interested in very similar topics, potentially, or people who have nothing in common with you, that you're finding things that maybe you do share in common. I know everybody wants to know about like schedule and classes. So know that summer 24 is still being built, but because we get so many questions, we wanted to share with you what summer 23 looked like. So again, summer 23, This is not summer 24, but just to give you a sense of, to Natalie's point, like these days are long days. You're in classes, though exciting classes, but you do have a full schedule while you're here. So this is just a random week of SAMS from this past summer. You will see that the students are engaging in sort of math courses, in science courses. There is a STEM project. There is a writing component. That writing component is really important for us. You will be writing, drafting, and sort of building and workshopping your college essay. So our hope is that by the time you leave SAMS, if not just a skeleton of what that looks like, that you have your college essay that's been workshopped by your peers and by professionals, so that when you leave here, you are feeling like you're in a really good place to think about that college application process. Projects are happening during this afternoon time. And then you will see sort of scattered in here some of the things that Natalie also talked about, right? So there are campus tours of things. There's exposure to things that are happening in industry that are connected to CMU and also not connected to CMU, sort of out in the Pittsburgh community. We want you to be able to take advantage of everything that CMU has to offer and that Pittsburgh has to offer while you are here in this space. And so we try to create every opportunity that we can to get you into these spaces, to talk to industry leaders, to talk to alums, so that you're able to be exposed to a variety of things. Maybe you think you want to be an engineer, but you don't know exactly what kind or what that actually might mean. And so the more exposure that you have to faculty, to staff, to industry folks about being able to ask questions of what their path was and how they knew what they wanted to do and some of the cool things that they can do with what their education is, that's what we want you to take advantage of here. So that's just an image of sort of what a week in the life of SAMS looks like. This is some information about the courses. Again, these are going to look a little bit different this coming summer because we have not finalized what the schedule looks like. But students have their choice. You will select one math course. These were the 3 options that were this summer. You will select one science course. These were the options from this past summer. All SAM scholars will take part in the writing seminar. And then you will select one of the projects that are offered too. So we try to offer a pretty wide variety of projects that may be things that you are really interested in, or maybe things that you want to explore a little bit more, or that you've heard of, but you don't really know what that is. And so we really are hoping that you're building a schedule for yourself that allows you to investigate sort of all the things that you might be passionate about or may not have access to in the spaces where you are in your homeschool. Again, these are just some more pictures from that final day, the symposium. The students here built, I think this was a tank. I don't know what they built, but there was an airplane and a tank and something else that was sort of built from components within one of our engineering projects. So again, some important deadlines. All this information can be found online, but just dumping it here. That is a QR code to the application. The application sits I'm sorry, Marjorie, if you're going to cover this, but if you go to the pre-college page, there is a separate tab for application, and that's where you're going to apply to all of the programs. So that QR code will take you to that link. Our applications for SAMS are due March 1st. Notifications will be April 5th. And our program dates, we are a 6-week program, and so we will start June 22nd and we will end on August 3rd. Again, just some more pictures from the symposium. And it's important to note, so in this picture, you will see faculty and staff who are at Carnegie Mellon that may or may not be affiliated with SAMS. You'll see current Carnegie Mellon students. There are grad students in this space. There are SAM scholars in this space. There are caregivers and family members in these pictures. And so this symposium really is a chance to be able to highlight and showcase the work that you have done in the time that you've been here with us. This is our entertainment technology, the game development group, posed with their instructors here. Again, just some more quotes so that you can understand sort of what people's experiences were while they were here on campus with us. And this is a picture from our closing lunch. There's an award ceremony that happens. There's recognition of scholars, of caregivers and instructors in this space as well. Sure, now I think that's the end of the SAMS part. So I'm going to bounce, pardon me, for whipping everybody back through the presentation, and I'm going to start back at the beginning and turn it over to Chernelle.
Great. Thanks so much, Roshan. Again, my name is M. Chernell Smith. I serve as the Associate Dean and Executive Director of the Center for Student Diversity and Inclusion. And what that means in terms of actually beyond the Summer Academy for Math and Science. And we think that that is important here, especially as we lean into conversations about fully funded merit-based programming. One of the things that is important to us at Carnegie Mellon actually is we deal in reality. So typically, like, this is real. All right, this is not going to be your summer, but this is a real element of Carnegie Mellon as a campus. All right, and in many ways, I think when we think about that, we like to show this picture because we're in Pittsburgh. I'm not a native Pittsburgher. I saw lots of things, people from Texas and those locations. I'm a native Arkansan from Texas, Louisiana. That's my part. I transitioned to Carnegie Mellon and the city of Pittsburgh as well. So when we think about fully funded merit-based programming, all right, and we think about the work of the center, Roshan, if we can go to, because I know we have students on this call, parents on this call, go back to the last slide. One of the things that's really key in the context of our work is that it is about access, meaning access to opportunities and experiences, in which when we talk a little bit, you go online, we'll talk about selection criteria. Please note, every one of our programs is open to any student to apply to, all right? That part is really key in understanding the experiences that we're hoping to create, because it is about access, but it's also about engagement and success. And you've heard all of that, regardless of whether or not we're talking about the Summer Academy for Math and Science, we're talking about CS scholars, we're talking about AI scholars, but actually any of the other 9 programs that are represented within the campus community. Please note that at the core of that, it is about giving opportunities for students to really be able to have a deep dive in learning, all right? Because access to higher education looks very differently sometimes, depending on the context of the schools in which you're coming from, all right? And so part of this pre-college experience, which I know Marjorie and Meg will be able to dig into from a student life lens, in understanding our Center for Student Diversity and Inclusion actually sits in 2 divisions. So we're dealing with academic affairs because we're a part of the Provost Division of Carnegie Mellon, as well as the Division of Student Affairs, all right? And so for us as a center, we get to reflect that. And every one of the pre-college students actually has access to our center. It's a Center for Student Diversity and Inclusion, but it's called the Center. And all pre-college students, regardless of the programs, even though the Summer Academy for Math and Science, what individuals, I'll give you historical data and associated with that, it's 20 plus years. We've been impacting 20 plus years. So as a part of the Summer Academy for Math and Science, you have alumni of the Summer Academy for Math and Science. Some of them will be Carnegie Mellon-based alumni, but understanding our program really is about access to STEM education. And we recognize that some students may come from backgrounds where we want students who are to apply for the Summer Academy for Math and Science who have a demonstrated interest in STEM disciplines, all right? It's really important to us in terms of that. And that means STEM in an innovative space. This is Carnegie Mellon University. Regardless of the program in which you're engaging in, Carnegie Mellon is exemplary when it comes to many areas of the humanities, the social sciences, engineering, technology, when we think about the sciences as well, but doing so in an interdisciplinary way. That's really key here as we think about our work. Roshan, if you go to the next slide, I also want you to think about our work and why we look at it in this way. We recognize that for us, we actually do our work regardless of the program, and the Summer Academy for Math and Science being one of them, and in which we look at culturally engaging campus environments. We recognize that we want every student on our campus, and even for students who are part of our pre-college experience, to feel a sense of belonging. We want you to feel welcomed. We want you to have a college experience in which you can be your full, authentic self. And we actually create these spaces and ecosystems in partnership with all of the programs across the pre-college experience, which is why I wanted to make the connection to the Center for Student Diversity and Inclusion being one of these spaces that is providing opportunities for students to learn and be connected and have aspects of learning in those academic experiences, but also engaging with our student life experiences of this is what college life is like. Carnegie Mellon is a global institution, all right? And so for us, the sense of belonging is really key because we recognize that for students to be their fullest self, if you don't feel a sense of belonging in a place, then that means that ultimately you're not performing at your best. Your academic disposition is associated with sense of belonging. And so in our work, what we try to do is to make students, be it even pre-college students, connected to world-renowned faculty. If you looked at our schedule for the Summer Academy for Math and Science, you saw Dr. Polin listed there. You are going to be connected in the Summer Academy for Math and Science and CS Scholars and others. We're inviting individuals in so that you can have these connection points, be it alumni, be it faculty. You're going to have access to that in all of the pre-college programs, but that's something in which we really drill down into. Recognizing that, we also recognize that one of the criteria that we have for the SAMS program is we want students to have an experience that demonstrates a commitment to education and extracurricular activities and community engagement. We also listed on our website and I know that Marjorie and Meg will talk a little bit more about the application process. We talk about aspects of social economic status. We talk about aspects of first generation students. When we look at that, those are the parts of underrepresented can mean many different things, but many aspects of underrepresented is really about access to. Am I the first person in my family to get a degree in a STEM field? That's underrepresented, all right? I may be the first person interested in engineering. My mom may have a degree in English and I'm very interested in biology. That's really actually also a part of that. So when you think about it, we try to do things in a very intersectional way in our work, but also recognizing that for us, we want students to have that interest in STEM and the STEM part, which is why we lean into aspects of math and science. When you look back at that schedule, and today we actually had a retreat with faculty that were both science and math and project-based. We want students to have hands-on experiences. We want to get you into labs and to be able to actually touch and feel and like connect with everything from 3D printing to spectrometers in the bio labs. Like that's what you're going to find regardless of your interest, be it in the math and science, which for us is very broad. And AI Scholars and others will dive deeply in computer science in that way. But for the SAMS program, it really is about allowing for you to be able to network. And you're going to be able to experience that through connection with alumni, connection with students. The center serves both undergraduate and graduate students. Many times our peer advisors for our pre-college program are PhD students. So you're seeing individuals who are doing the work in that way. So ultimately for me, and I just wanted to ensure that for any caregiver, loved one, faculty, counselor on this call, in knowing for us in our work and our programming, it is about ensuring we're creating an experience that allows for students to do a deep dive into STEM-based programming, but also recognizing that you're coming into a space where it's going to be lifelong connections, regardless of whether or not you go through our summer academy and you apply for Carnegie Mellon. That's great, but we celebrate the wins wherever students end up going because we want to ensure that students who are interested in STEM, you have access to these experiences. And with the Summer Academy for Math and Science, we have 20 plus years of success in terms of that. We want to take you from being a student to being a scholar. And that's how we articulate our work that we do in our program, is that we're taking you from being a student to being a scholar, and we're teaching you how to be a scholar. But we're doing it in a way in which it is about what's happening in the academic experiences, but it is also about holistically you being a successful scholar means that you're also learning how to connect, communicate, network, being able to actually, the writing component was something that the Summer Academy for Math and Science created because students were struggling in filling out their college essay writing. And so we helped that and brought that in, because you can't really be a good STEM scholar if you don't know how to write and communicate. And so we look at things very holistically. We're excited to see what the future is going to hold, and looking forward to answering any questions that you may have specifically about our program. Thank you again. And I think I'm going to tag team that back to Marjorie and Meg so they can talk about the student experience, which they do a phenomenal job with.
Thank you, Chanel and Roshan. Meg, are you ready? I'm going to hand it over to you.
Hold on 1 second here. All right. As Marjorie said, my name is Meg Pryor. I use she, her pronouns, and I am the Assistant Director of Pre-College Student Affairs. This basically means that my job is to focus on and support the student life side of the pre-college experience for all students at CMU. I supervise a staff of up to 60 undergraduate Carnegie Mellon students. These students serve in the roles of either community advisors or resident advisors, and they reside in the residential halls with the pre-college students, providing 24/7 support to all students. We work collaboratively to deliver a robust and holistic student experience, providing a wide variety of activities for students to participate in outside of the classroom. Because of the work that's being done in the classroom being robust and intense, these activities are, of course, optional, but it is our hope that students participate in as many activities as they can manage to fit into their schedule. We really believe that this helps to prepare students for their future studies by learning how to manage their time inside and outside of the classroom, as well as providing opportunities for making connections with other students, as Charlene and Roshan and Natalie all have spoken about as well. Because that is part of the experience as much as the academic side. Some of the optional on-campus events that we have planned include a July 4th celebration with a fantastic fireworks show. We have social activities throughout the program, which are designed to provide opportunities to meet new people and to explore what the city of Pittsburgh has to offer. So these are programs that we, the office, the pre-college programs office plans. These would be in addition to the many programming opportunities that both programs, Natalie and Roshan have spoken about a little bit tonight. So there certainly is not a lack of ways to explore the city, explore CMU, and meet new people. Students also every summer have the opportunity to form their own clubs. These generally meet on a weekly basis, much like clubs would function in the undergrad experience. We have an a cappella club every summer, and the members of this club get to perform the national anthem for a Pittsburgh Pirates game, which is our Major League Baseball team here in Pittsburgh. We've had everything from knitting clubs to reading clubs to swimming clubs. Basically, if there is something that is of interest to you and you find like-minded people and want to form a club, that is an option for you, with some guidance and some resources supplied by our resident advisors, our RAs. We also offer some off-campus opportunities for pre-college students to experience Pittsburgh and the surrounding area. We have a trip to Fallingwater, which is a beautiful home designed by Frank Lloyd Wright. And we take a group of students to a baseball game at PNC Park, the home of the Pittsburgh Pirates. Pre-college students are also provided with a free bus pass. This allows them to access various areas throughout Pittsburgh. And in addition to that, they have an arts pass that allows them to visit one of our many local museums, some of our many local museums, I should say. Marjorie, if you could go to the next slide, please. Pre-college residential students are housed in freshman dormitories, all of which are air conditioned. We aim to pair our residential pre-college students with a roommate from their same academic program whenever possible. However, the floors that students live on are comprised of students from all of the programs. This provides students with the opportunity to meet and interact and make connections with other students across all the various 12 programs. Pre-college students have access to most of the resources that are available to our undergraduate CMU student population. This consists of everything from Student Academic Success Center, which can help assist with tutoring if students are struggling with some of that time management, university health services, counseling and psychological services, which we call CAPS, some of our many athletic facilities, study spaces, and of course, as Shirlene spoke about, the Center for Diversity Inclusion, and many more resources. To kind of wrap up my little spiel here, students in our pre-college programs at CMU are able to experience much more than incredible classroom learning. Our goal really is to provide an opportunity to, as Marjorie said, test drive the undergraduate experience, not only if that would be at CMU, but to prepare students for what they might expect when they start their undergraduate studies anywhere at most universities.
Thank you, Meg. So I think I feel like we answered the why. Why should you apply? Why should you want to come to Carnegie Mellon's pre-college programs? So we're gonna talk about the how, because there's always a how. And I know this is not always the most exciting part, but it's critical information. So the application is open, and it is very much like a college application, and that is intentional. Everything we do is geared towards preparing you for the college level, for the college experience. Our application is entirely online, so you can find the link to the application on our website. You can it's either in a drop-down menu or the top tab, and it just says application. So it's really clear. You click on that, it's going to take you to the application, and there are thorough instructions at the very beginning of the application. And I highly encourage you and your parent or guardian to read through that. So the instructions, because it's going to answer a lot of questions before they even pop into your head. That's my goal, is to answer the question before it comes to you. So read through those instructions. You're going to then enter into the application. You're going to answer some basic information. And then one of the very first questions you get is whether you would like to be considered for scholarship or for the fully funded merit-based programs. So for these 3 programs, and you need to click yes. That's critical if you're applying to these 3 programs, because all the questions kind of tier out. So it's best to work through the application in the order of the questions. So please press yes. I have received so many questions last year, people not answering and saying, why don't I see SAMS as an option? Why don't I see AI Scholars? It's because you didn't say that you were interested in those programs. So please, that's a big tip for tonight. Press yes. You will be asked for a first, second, and third choice. You can list any of these programs in that order. So you can do AI Scholars first, SAMS second. That is totally fine. We will consider your application in the order that you've listed those program preferences. So please consider that. We will first review it. If it's SAMS first, we will review it for SAMS. We'll make a decision on SAMS. If it's a deny for SAMS, then it goes on to second choice. You can only be admitted to 1 program. I also get that question a lot. You will need to upload your most recent unofficial transcript. So we are looking for 9th grade up until as current as you can get them. And we realize that sometimes it's difficult to get a transcript from a guidance counselor. That's not what we really need. It can be a printout from your school website. Now every school has their own portal, right? So you go to your grades section. You need to make sure your name is on it, the school is on it, so we can identify where you go and who you are. But then anything that shows all your courses and your grades, and if you can show us what you're currently taking, even if there aren't grades available, that's super helpful too. That just helps us understand your academic profile, right? Test scores, like PSATs, SATs are optional. I'm going to ask the program directors to speak more directly to that in the Q&A, but those are optional. And then also optional is extracurricular activities. But although we say it's optional, and it is, it's a really good idea to fill it out because it helps us understand who you are and what's important to you. And I think we'll dig into that a little bit too in the Q&A, but please consider filling that out. That's helpful to the review committee. There will be essays that are required, and the word counts will be specific to the individual programs. Please be aware that if you do a first, second, and third choice, you will need to write essays for all of those choices. There will be 2 letters of recommendation required for the 3 programs represented tonight. We'll dig into that in the Q&A as well. Those should come from teachers or counselors. That is all done through our online system. This is another top question that we get. So the way this works is you will come to the section in the application. You will enter the information about your recommender. So we'll need their email address, how you know them, who they are. So you give us that information, and then the system will send them an email with a link so that they click on the link and they can fill out that recommendation through our online system. So it is very much like a one-touch process for you as far as the application. Although it's a one-touch process for you, I am going to say it's a really good idea to stop by and let your recommender know that this is coming, then they can watch for it in their email. And also, it's just nice to put a face to the request, right? And to say please, and of course, thank you after it's done. So that's my tip on recommendation letters. Some portfolios, none of the 3 here tonight, some will require, programs will require portfolio materials. AIS, CSS, and SAMS do not, however. For scholarship consideration and for these 3 fully funded programs, we will need information on the household income as a point of reference. This helps us understand the financial situation of the home in the holistic review of these 3 programs. We will need, there's just a 1 page that you fill out. It's fairly simple. We don't ask too many questions, but we are interested in how many people are in the home, what's the income. So it's pretty simple, but then we need some supporting documentation. And that can be in the form of the tax form 1040 or the NACAC application fee waiver. So that's a fee waiver that is commonly used at the undergraduate level. So we use it for our purposes. You can find links to that fee waiver all over our website and all through the application. We make it really easy to find. You will just print out that form. You take it into your guidance counselor or school official. They will fill it out. They will make some kind of assessment of need, sign it, you bring it home, and you upload it into the application, and that's it. That counts as the supporting documentation. Sometimes that's easier than digging up a 1040. The 1040, if you do choose to go that route, it can be the previous year, which would be 2023. But if you're like me, I haven't filed yet. So it can be the 2022 as well. Again, as I suggested, strongly encourage you to read the instructions at the beginning of the application. When you get to this financial section, I would read that section carefully as well. You just don't want to disqualify yourself by leaving out some important information that we're asking for. So please read through those instructions. The last thing I'm going to say about the application, and it is an important bit for you to understand, is that all the materials, required materials, need to be in the system for the submit button to work. So you need that recommendation letter in, you need the unofficial transcripts, you need the essays. It all needs to be uploaded into the system to be able to submit the application. So you want to just plan ahead. You don't want to leave this to the last minute. That can sometimes get you in a bind, right? So the program dates, I'll just quickly review these again. The opening day is June 22nd. So that's the day you need to be 16 years of age by. There's an orientation day that following day, which is a Sunday. And then the first day of classes, it will be Monday, June 24th. So I've listed the end dates for all of our weeks, but for this evening's purposes, the 4-week program. So that's AI Scholars and CS Scholars. The last day of classes will be July 19th. For SAMS, it's 6 weeks, and their last day of class will be August 2nd. And then as a residential student, you will need to move out of the dormitories by 2 o'clock the following that Saturday. So the next day. So it would be July 20th and August 3rd. And I would say that you probably will want to wait to do the move out until the Saturday morning if you can, just so you're not rushing through that last day of classes and you get a chance to say goodbye to your friends and to the staff. That will be important to you if that's possible to leave on, the Saturday. Okay, so for the deadline, Rashawn mentioned this applies to all the 3 programs here. The application deadline is March 1st. Of course, I would recommend that you get those applications in earlier. You will get a thorough read if you send it in on the day before March 1st. Absolutely, you will. But it's nice to get it in early. We have readers that are already starting the reading process, so it gives them time to start reading it now. So I would recommend not waiting till the end. And it also leaves you don't get into a bind, like one more thing that you got to tack into and rush through. So give yourself some time and get that application in. All of these decisions for these 3 programs are released on the same day. So for our paying positions, those are rolling admissions. So you don't want to be confused on that. That's another question we get a lot. All of these programs, all of the decisions are held until April 5th. So that's the day you want to check your applicant status portal for your decisions. And then after that, if you are offered admittance, you will have 7 days to reply to the admittance. It's just through your application status portal. So you're just going to click on a reply form, say that you're going to be, you want to come, and that's it. Any waitlist offers are also done in the same manner through the applicant status portal. So I think we're at the Q&A portion of the evening. There's a lot of contact information on this sheet, on the screen. So I'm going to cut and paste it, and I'm going to put it into the chat if you would like to grab that and hang on to that. We all want to answer any questions you have. So please feel free to reach out to us after this presentation if you have any questions or concerns. But right now, I think I'm going to stop sharing. Again, I will share all of this information in the chat, but let's open it up to some Q&A. I actually can kick us off. I've been taking notes of the questions in the chat. So how about if I will kick it off? We had several questions about GPAs. So, and I know it was mentioned, but let's just revisit it because it came up several times in the chat. What kind of GPAs are you each program looking for?
We don't have any requirement for GPA for CSS or AIS.
There you go. Easy answer. SAMS?
I just want to fully answer the question because I think this fits into other things associated with SAT scores and other optional things. What you have to fully recognize in applying for any of these particular programs is the more information you give, it helps us to actually see all elements of your interest in STEM, or I'm going to answer this for you also, Natalie, in AI or computer science. It is important. So even when it's not just about grades. You've heard me talk a lot about holistic. We holistically look at each individual application. And so, yes, if you have, if you've taken the SAT, put those scores in, even though we say it is optional. If you have ACT scores, because not everybody takes the SAT, if you have scores of that nature, put those numbers in. It is also very, very important to answer a few of these questions. The letters of recommendation, and we talk more about this in SAMS, we want you to be hearing from people who can truly talk about you, all right? It's a math and science program for us. So we want to hear from your math instructors about how well you're doing in your class. But ultimately, GPAs, there's no finite number in terms of that. We know in academic experiences, even in 9th through 12th grade, there are times when things change, all right? We're looking for students to become scholars, all right? And not every scholar started out with a 3.5 or a 4.0, or I don't know, a 5.0. I know in high school these days, some schools have things along those lines. What we're interested in, truly, it is about writing well in that essay to tell us why you want to be a part of our programs and showcasing who you are, why STEM is important to you, or AI scholars or CS scholars is important to you, and what this program will be able to extend to you. All right. Being able to share that, articulate that, along with letters of recommendation. It doesn't matter where you land in terms of your GPA or what you scored on your SAT. Now, the SAT and ACT tells us proficiency in terms of things or where there are learning opportunities, but that's what these programs are about. It's about bridging that and exposing you and actually getting you into some academic spaces that will challenge, but challenge in terms of building confidence. That's what we do every day. That's what the fully funded merit-based programs are about. It is about escalating the things that you already do well. But we hope, because our program is geared towards STEM, is that you're leaning into aspects of STEM. And I hope that that helps answer a few of those questions that I saw. Roshan, Natalie, I don't know if there's other things you want to extend, but when we look at applications and our readers, it is holistically, we look at everything. We look at the full picture of the student, all right? You don't have to check boxes. Underrepresented, I hope that you saw the extension of what that is. It really is underrepresented in aspects of not just checking a box. This is not about race or gender or any of those particular things. It really is about experiences. And we want to be able to offer access to experiences that you may not have right now. And it may not be because of you, it may be the school district that you find yourselves in. We want to be able to expose our programs, which is why these programs are grant funded. There's organizations out there across the country who want to allow access to students to gain proficiencies in math and science and quantitative and qualitative skill sets. So I hope that that holistically answered a lot of questions. We can tag team this because our programs truly do. We bridge things and do things together. All right.
That was good. You did. You answered a whole bunch of them. Thank you, Chanel.
Thank you, Chanel. I just want to add, I just
Yeah,
want to add and make it very clear. I think Chanel did, but I just want to make it very clear that when Chanel is saying all of those things, she's speaking for SAMS and also for CSS and AIS, that our definitions and our understandings of these words and these questions that you're asking are one and the same. I just want to make sure that everyone has that understanding. Yeah.
May I also, with 2 quick seconds, just add another thing is with that all, because we're absolutely there. It's the authenticity of who you are as well that is important to us. And I know Chanel didn't mention that, but I just want to highlight that a little bit as well. Like, the authenticity of you, your journey, your experience, and what you'll bring not only to our programs, but to the future of life, humanity, the world. Those are the things we're interested in, so I'm going to add that and disappear again. Bye.
I think that's a great point, right? Because it's not just you getting something from us, we get something from you too, what you bring to our campus. So, we consider that, we look at that. And we're just excited when the students come on campus, right? So can we just really clearly, because we got this question, and I know we all get this question, is this need-based? Can you just one more time sort of give an answer? Any one of you, because I know the answer is the same, whoever says it. So
I'm happy to take a shot, but I will.
Oh, no, Natalie,
are you sure?
Please go ahead. Yeah.
Okay, so we SAMS, I will only speak for SAMS in this because I don't want to speak on behalf of Natalie, but feel free to nod or thumbs up or whatever if that's the case. Like, we don't have a cutoff, right? So there is not this magic number that we say, if you make above this, don't bother to apply. And I think that's to your point now. One is that to this conversation that we're having is there is a very broad look that we have at your application. So that financial piece is literally just one piece of telling us who you are as a person. The other piece of that Marjorie also spoke to is there is a financial section that allows us to hear from you more about what that financial situation means. So it's not just a piece of paper that you're submitting, but it allows a narrative, right? So you're able to tell us, this is the amount of money, and somebody was recently laid off, or there is an injury in our home that there are medical concerns, or there are 3 other kids that are in college, or we are caring for family members that are out of the country, or like name the 102 things that impact all of our finances. So please take advantage of that portion in that financial documentation to bring that to life for us if you feel that's important, right? But just to be extraordinarily clear, and I know everybody wants a number, we don't have one to give you. There is no number to give you because we don't use the financial information that way. And you may have a really giant income and you may be in a space where you have already taken all the math that is to be offered in your school district, right? So like that you may still be under-resourced in a whole lot of other spaces, even if it's not financially. I don't know if that speaks to everybody, but hopefully that answers.
Yeah, thank you, Roshan. I will say same for CSS and AIS, that we are looking at your whole application. I want to just speak a little bit more about touch a little bit more about what Roshan said about, we don't have a magic number with cutoff number in terms of what your income level is. Marjorie talked a lot about that particular piece of the application in terms of either submitting the NACAC waiver, which the NACAC waiver is phenomenal, but it also can be very stringent, right? And there's a lot of nuance to like our families, like financial situations, right? So you might not meet those stringent requirements for the NACAC, but you also might not be able to pay out of pocket for a 4, 5, 6 week summer program at an institution like Carnegie Mellon, where these programs, because they are the cost is covered by grants, but if they weren't, they would be, somewhere between 10 and 12 grand per student. That's a lot of money for a family to have to send you to a summer program, right? If you have lots of other folks in your home and things, all of the many things that Roshan said, and then plus some. So we understand that there's a lot of nuance and there are a lot of factors when it comes to a family's financial situation. And so we are really looking at the whole picture, as much information as you can give us, share it where you can, especially in that narrative section. And then also understanding that we're looking at all of that in the context of the entire application. Again, is that whole idea of it's not the determining factor, it's a piece that we're looking at within all of the things that you've shared with us.
Excellent. So we've gotten a couple questions on extracurriculars. So I saw, Roshan, you answered the question about leadership positions. Yes, please include that. So I'm going to add a question. What if somebody has a job? What if they're not participating in after school activities because they're working? What do you want to see? Like, can you speak to the activity section?
Absolutely. So in our work, all right, when we look at leadership comes in many forms. All right. If you have a job, you're doing leadership. All right. You're engaging. You may be having a job because it's helping to support your family. Those are the things where I want to go back. I just want to distill down for both programs. Your essay is key. All right. These things are not just about listing. We're not trying to count. Here's a total number of extracurricular activities that I have. It's just giving us a narrative, which is a part of something in our programs, all of our programs. You're going to learn how to write and express those particular things. We'll teach you how to do that even more so if and when, I'll say when, you become a part of our programs, all right? So it's not about list. It's not about a number count. It's about what those experiences are, which is why you want to ensure that you talk about all the things, all right? It's okay to disclose those things because those are fully about who you are as an individual, how you're learning as a leader. Jobs are a key part of that for some of us, all right? And it doesn't matter the circumstances behind the why. It is the fact that you're gaining competencies while being engaged in that job, okay? So for some of you, you're able to have all the extracurriculars in certain ways, just depending upon your schools. And for others, your extracurricular is that job, all right? And it's a beautiful representation of your ability to be able to manage time, be able to engage depending on what the job may be. And those are the types of skill sets that we want the scholars need to have as well. All right. And so as you look at it as being a student, remember our programs are about transitioning you into what it means to be a successful scholar. All right. And that's what we do and why you are, when selected, you are scholars. You're scholars before you get there. We just help to actually broaden that for you when you become a part of our programs. All right. Other questions, Marjorie?
Oh, can I just add a little bit to what you just said? I'm so sorry.
Yeah, the essay is the vital part. I just want to say, like, we're doing all these things and checking boxes and all of that. Write these things in that essay. All right. That will tell us your story and your narrative. And that's what we're paying a lot of attention to. If there are places where we're paying the most attention to, it actually is that.
I'll second that for CSS and AIS. And then I'm seeing some of these questions pop up in the chat and about what exactly are you looking for? Someone says, are you looking for intellectually curious students? What makes a difference for getting in, being admitted or not? Yes, we love intellectually curious students, of course. And here's the thing, we are going to read tons and tons of applications. Malik and I are going to read a ton. Roshan and Chanel are going to read a ton. And all of you here today, I would bet my life on it, have wonderful GPAs, have excellent grades, are driven and intellectually curious, right? What I'm just going to reiterate it and say it again, that essay is your opportunity to tell us who you are. Show us who you are. We can gain so much. We can read so much about your extracurricular activities, and we can look at your scores, but the essay is where you have the opportunity to show us, your personality and your heart and what really is what you're passionate about. And I know, because there were some questions about how long do the essays have to be. There are the prompts that are listed in the application will tell you, what there's a suggested word count for each one, but really just take the time to answer the question well and thoroughly. Don't get to have somebody proofread it, please, because that's good practice for you in life going forward, but don't get too caught up on making it perfect in terms of your grammar and all of that. Have somebody proofread it. Don't let that be the thing that put your heart into it, because that's the place where we get to know the most about.
So how about class sizes for each of the programs? I saw that SAMS listed theirs, but let's just do it publicly.
Yes, thank you. We're accepting 30 students for CSS and 30 students for AIS this year.
And in case folks didn't see it in the chat, SAMS is accepting 80 students.
Okay. And a couple of questions about the housing. Yes, housing is included, as is dining, as is food. We feed you. We feed you well. Someone wanted clarification. Is SAMS rolling admission? No, it is not rolling admission. So there's one final deadline, March 1st, and then all decisions come out April 5th. If you are applying if you have a first, second, or third choice, do you need like 2 recommendations for each program choice? No, total of 2 recommendations. If you have any questions about that, you can feel free to reach out to me if you need some clarification. Of course, the program directors as well.
Marjorie, can I hop in super quick on the recommendations, just to give everybody a little piece of advice in the event that you haven't had to ask? One, I will reiterate what Marjorie said, which is like, ask now. Even if you haven't put their name in it and they haven't gotten the prompt, please give your recommender as much time as they possibly can. It is helpful for recommenders. They may ask for this for either a list of like what you've done, what your accomplishments are, so they can speak to some of that as well. And you may want to be thoughtful. For SAMS, for instance, we have 2 letters of recommendation. So it would be in your best interest to use those letters to not just reiterate the things you're writing in the essay and your extracurriculars, but use those additional letters to help round out who you are as a person. So if somebody is a recommender for you and also an advisor of a club or an organization that you founded, right? Or has seen you in a volunteer situation, or knows you outside of the classroom, or sees you in a community situation, like, use that space too to help us understand who you are, and not just to reiterate, these are the 6 classes that this person has been in, and reiterating the things that are already listed in your essay or your extracurricular. Use that to help tell us who you are as a scholar, who you are as a human, why this experience would be great for you, and how you're going to benefit us by your presence on campus.
So we are at 8:22, program directors. Do you want to do breakout rooms? Do you want to continue as the group? Want to do breakout? No breakout rooms? Natalie, everybody's shaking no? Thumbs.
I'm
Okay.
fine to stay here and to follow up with us individually if you have individual
Okay.
Yeah,
questions.
because
Does
you
that work?
posted the emails. I saw someone posted our emails in there.
I did.
Marge, oh, go ahead.
Oh, no, I'm fine continuing with the Discover session. I just don't want to, I want to be cognizant of everybody's time. Should we just keep going on some group questions? Okay.
I think that's probably bad.
You all are working as a team, so.
No, that works perfectly fine. There was a question very early in the game where and I tried to scroll back, but I couldn't scroll back far enough. But somebody asked, if students from CSS are accepted into AIS, does that mean there are less spots available for AIS? And I just wanted to make sure we did address that question, and that is correct. We are not certain at this moment what that exact number is, so we won't even speak to it. But because we did say that we accept 30 students into the AIS program, I will acknowledge that that 30 students does include some of the students who are welcomed back for a second year.
So
I think also there was in that same vein, my apologies, Marjorie. In that same vein, I think I saw also someone asked about if you're admitted to CSS this summer, are you automatically admitted to AI the following summer? So assuming that you complete CSS, you complete the program and what we'll generally say good standing, which is we've never had anyone not complete the program in good standing at this point, then you'll receive an offer to come back for AI Scholars the following summer. You'll be given a deadline to which you'll have to commit to that program, because we also know that some folks, and I think I even saw this in here, some folks might be thinking they want to apply for CSS this summer and then they want to apply for SAMS as a rising senior, which we love that too. We encourage that very much so. And there's lots of other programs out there. So our hope is always that you would want to return and come be with us, but we also what Malik and I really want is to encourage you to find the path that's best for you, and we'll do what we can to help you. So I think I answered that. I just wanted to touch back on one more thing. I'm so sorry
No, it's perfect.
Roshan, I think this was Roshan, you answered one of the questions in the chat, but just in case everybody didn't see it, when we were talking about leadership and extracurriculars, we talked about jobs, like you might have a job. You might not have a job. You might not have time for extracurriculars because your leadership role is within your household. And so I just want to make sure that if that is the case, if your leadership role is within your household because you're caring for younger siblings or you're caring for parents who may be, who may need additional support, that you mention that as well somewhere in your application, because that in itself, that is also leadership. We also recognize that as leadership. That's important.
I have a question here. I want to make sure I answer it. It's asked, is the transcript allowed to be a PDF scan of a physical copy of the transcript? Absolutely. You can, yes, and you can do a photo. If it's a clear photo, anything, your transcript, any of the pieces, the NACAC, the 1040, if it's a clear photo, that is 100% acceptable. We realize not everybody has access to a scanner, and that's no big deal. Mine's broken at the moment. So, Natalie or Malik, coding language for CSS applicants. Somebody asked that. What are your
yeah, I think I answered that in the chat, but thank you for bringing it up too. Yes. So both CSS and AIS, you'll be coding in Python.
Okay. Do you need them to have any baseline?
You don't need to have, for either program, you don't need to have any particular level of experience. You could come to us with no experience.
Okay. I had a question about GPA being weighted or unweighted, whatever your school puts on the transcript is fine. We're used to seeing all sorts of transcripts, so we'll figure it out. No worries about that. And Meg, what
So,
other questions did I miss? Yeah, please.
Can I,
Oh, good,
can I,
someone's speaking. Yay.
Marjorie, I think there was a question that kind of might have been read to you, and I think Meg might have been answered, but a few people have asked about the multiple applications, right? Where there's a world where you have to apply for AI scholars and fill out a essay, excuse me, I'm sorry. You have to fill out an essay for AI scholars and then fill out an essay for SAMS, but then there are general essays as well. And so I think somebody asked if you could answer or I guess if the one applicant or essay applied. I'm trying to find it right now.
No, so there were two different questions. Well, a number of different ways people ask that. So
Yes,
you have
thank
to
you,
answer
Meg.
that there are general essay questions that you have to answer. If you're applying to AI scholars and SAMs, you need to answer each of their essays. Each of them.
Yeah.
Any
So,
program you're applying to, you need to give them what they're asking.
yeah. And you can find all essay prompts on, if you're not in the application yet, go to our website, look at the program page and scroll down, and all of the essay prompts are provided on the website. But yes, you need to answer each of those. And is it Darsh? You had a
Yeah.
question. Please
Yeah, I did.
take the stage.
So, Python is the most diverse programming language, and I'm genuinely interested in programming computers. My main thing is cybersecurity, and I go into AI, full stack web development and stuff. But Python is literally the most diverse programming language there is, right? And so is there any other information as to what libraries of Python we could be using, or how we would apply that to AI or anything like that?
Josh, if you want to send me an email with those specific questions, I can get some more specific answers from our instructor to share with you.
Okay, thank you.
Agreed.
And there's a question about clarity around whether they're underrepresented. They're considered underrepresented. I would suggest that you go ahead and email one of us, and we will make sure we can talk that through with you. I think that's probably the best option, because I know that can be a complex thing to wrestle with.
Like one of the
Okay,
things
what
that I
else?
put in the chat, just in answering that parts of that question, is the selection criteria for the Summer Academy for Math and Science. I would go into the applications and the websites online, and it speaks to certain things, but ultimately, I just need to provide universal clarity here. If you're interested in these programs, please apply, period. All right. And so that is important. This is not a checkbox to say what underrepresented means. All right, because underrepresented in STEM means many things depending on what you're talking about. All right. And so what we're looking for is you have a strong desire for STEM or computer science or AI. You meet the eligibility requirements, which are first and foremost those things that we all have talked about. You have to be 16, you have to be U.S. citizen, all those things with clarity in terms of some of our grant funded, because these are grant funded programs, that's part of this as well. Once you've met those particular criteria, please take a look at our selection. You're not holistically, we look holistically at every application. Every application is individually read. And so that part is important. But if you have specific questions, please go to those email addresses that are been put forward, and we'll gladly make time to speak with you individually in that manner. But I want to have clarity in terms of, don't check yourself out of, this is what I tell students, scholars, staff members, friends, family, don't take yourself out of a process. All right. All right. Do not take yourself out of a process. All right. If you're interested in it, showcase what that is, regardless of whether or not you're applying for scholarships, other things. This is a universal internell for you. Don't take yourself out of a process. All right. Seek the clarity that you need and apply and showcase your why. All right. And allow for that program, opportunity, others who are involved in that selection process to be the ones to take you out of that process. Don't do that prior to, because you never know where your desires may take you. And that's important, because one of the things about Carnegie Mellon is we're an innovative place, all right? At the intersections of innovation is diversity of thought and people and experiences. And that's what we're looking for. And that's what any college and university across the world, but especially in our American higher education institutions, we're seeking that, all right? Because you're going to bring to us what the next layer of scholarship is going to look like in the world and creating impact. And Natalie talked about that in the beginning. All right. So hopefully that answers some questions. Speak to us directly, but don't take yourself out of a process just because you think that there's a box that you're supposed to check. All right. Thank you.
That's so true. I was just talking to a scholarship student from last year, and she leveraged, her ambition, but also her attendance at our pre-college to launch her into an opportunity for a full college scholarship. And I said, what would you say to applicants? And she said, don't rule yourself out. Don't assume it won't be you. Right? So don't assume it won't be you. I'm going to answer 2 more questions and then we'll close for the night. Are the essay prompts the same every year? It depends. There's some similarities, but no, they often change. I wouldn't assume that one way or the other. And then the final question that I will answer, someone said, if they're doing AIS and SAMS for their first and second choice, they want to consider a third choice. I guess you just want to come to CMU. We love that. Why don't you reach out to me and we can talk about your interests and see what might be a good third choice. I think that'd be an awesome option for you to do. But make sure you email me on that and we'll talk on that. Are we ready to close?
I think so, but I loved what Chanel said so much. And I just want to malignant it a little bit and just say that, like, I never count yourself out, because we read hundreds of applications, but you have no idea how many applications aren't even slightly complete, right? That don't have the materials, they didn't even write an essay. They literally just said, I want to come, or things like that. And it's like, you have no idea where you can weigh in those circumstances. Never count yourself out of anything. Thank you so much for Chanel for giving us that message this evening.
Well, and here's the thing. I mean, SAMS is taking 80 people. So why can't you be one of those 80, right? Like, we've got to take 80. So somebody's got to be those 80. So yes, to that point, like, don't take yourself out of it. And just because you aren't selected in the programs also doesn't mean that you are not capable of being in the programs, right? Like, it doesn't mean that. Chanel always says, like, for every person that we take, there are probably 3 other people that easily could have been in that position. So there are a lot of people with similar profiles that apply for things. And just because you do not get it doesn't mean that you are not qualified and valid to be in those spaces.
Right. I think one of the worst parts of the job is narrowing the applications down to 60 or 80. Like, there's just no way to do that. And at the end of the day, because there's always 4 or 5 times that we want to bring in. So go for it, y'all. We're rooting for every single one of you, sincerely.
Here's my last quote for you all in terms of application and why it's important. Fill out the application, complete the application. A part of this scholarship and learning is also about fulfilling all the elements associated with it. All right. Again, this is a prelim to the application process for your undergraduate experience. All right. And so all of those things matter. All right. And start now. Ultimately, I will say you've connected with a part of the Carnegie Mellon experience. All right. And pre-college is a part of that. The center is a part of that. Applying actually gets you also networked and connected to our missions, regardless of whether or not you're accepted or not. You've been connected to Carnegie Mellon. All right. And so what that means is that even if you're not selected to one of these programs that you may have applied to, you now have a thread into the community and the ecosystem of Carnegie Mellon and our institution of higher education. All right. We work in a helping and supported profession. So what that means is that when you write to us, regardless of whether or not you're a selected person or not, or especially if you get on a wait list, please accept that wait list. I want to say that right now as well, is that you're connected. Use us as a resource. There's a reason why on a Thursday night, we're giving you 2 hours of time. And we've not met some of you. We're getting personalities from questions and inquiry, but now you have a network into the Carnegie Mellon experience. If Carnegie Mellon is a place of interest, you now have connections. Use that. And that's the reason why. Don't count yourself out, all right? Because you've met individuals that are here, and we want to see you successful, be it you come to Carnegie Mellon or not. I want to see more successful. We want to see more individuals in my work everywhere, all right? And everyone deserves access, okay, to these opportunities. And so in order to do that, we want to have all the information we can about you, but we want you to take advantage of the resources that we provide, all right? So I'll end there, and that goes for any student and scholar here, any loved one that's on this call, any family member, parent, individual counselors, community-based organizations. You now have a network, outreach to us. We respond.
Okay, with that, I'll just say, thank you. I think you can see here, we are a passionate bunch. We are in it because of you, right? We love students, and we love to see students get opportunities and find their way to their own success, whatever that looks like. So I want to say it says a lot about you that you showed up tonight and gave us this time. So well done on that. That shows your ambition and says a lot about you right there. So thank you for that. We really hope to see your application coming in, and we would love to see you on campus. If you have any questions at all, I know we gave you a lot of information. You can always email me, and I know all these people, and I will make sure the question gets to the right place. So if, when in doubt, email Marjorie and she sends it on, she gets it to the spot. So please just don't hesitate to reach out to any of us. Thank you so much. Thank you to the program directors. I appreciate you taking this time. I love these nights because I get to connect with students. So that's a treat for me. I know it is for them as well. So thank you all. Again, we are here for any questions, any concerns, anything you need. Okay, so thanks. Good night, everybody.